Welcome to the Nanny Podcast. I'm Hannah Scher, the owner of Riviera Nannies, a worldwide nanny agency based in the south of France. I feel very passionately about everything nanny. One of the most important things we do at our agency is making sure our nannies have the careers and jobs that fit them the best, and we love supporting them in all areas of their lives and careers. That's why I wanted to start the Nanny Podcast. Here we talk about all things nanny, the good, the bad, and the awesome. Thank you for spending some time with me today and for listening to our podcast. Welcome to the Nanny Podcast. Today's episode is a bit of a case study. I want to tell you about a kind of situation that surprises me every time, and I want to share how we handle and advise in a possibly tricky situation. There have been times when clients ask us for exotic nannies, and it doesn't necessarily mean what you might think. We've had families say to us that they just want something different from everyone else. Here, the nanny becomes a commodity. It's no longer about getting the best care for the child, but rather about the image you project. It's a keeping up with the Joneses, if you want. Hiring a nanny is a really great thing for your family. You have another adult who is professionally trained to raise babies and children. When picking the perfect person for your family, there are many things to consider. What language the nanny speaks is of course important. If you want your kid to speak a foreign language fluently and understand a foreign culture, hiring a nanny who can give you that is a great idea. But realistically, he or she would have to spend years with you for it to have a benefit. A client might tell us that they want a Chinese nanny to teach their children Chinese. In some cases, this is a very regular request. We understand the logic. Then we ask, are you looking for Mandarin or Cantonese? There are times when we don't get a response here, and it gets really tricky for us to know how to help. The benefits of a foreign nanny can be huge, but the decision should be taken consciously. In one particular case, when the family lives in a place where there's no Chinese community to find local nannies in, we would find them a qualified Chinese nanny who is willing to move for the job. That's also normal and quite common. But of course, this kind of job is not going to be a minimum wage one. If a nanny moves for a job, it's going to be for a good job with some good terms and a good salary. In one particular case, we explained this and that they would have to sponsor a visa for the nanny at an additional cost. All this is okay until they see the numbers. This is when it starts to get strange. We show them a good solution. They don't like it and come back saying, maybe we'll take a Greek nanny then. Another pause from us. Okay. Chinese and Greek language and culture are not exactly interchangeable. We find a Greek nanny. Same conversation happens again. They don't want to pay what it costs. We suggest that they hire a local nanny for fewer hours per week at a price that they can afford. At this point, they admit to us that they just want something exotic and something nobody else has. In my mind, I think they should get themselves a pet snake and that they can walk around with it to show how exotic they are, and then hire a proper nanny who can actually take care of their children. Your nanny is not a status symbol, or it shouldn't be. He or she is not a handbag or a car. They're the person helping raise your children. If it's necessary to brag about having a nanny, brag about how qualified they are. Brag about how they help you solve problems you didn't know how to solve on your own. Brag about the relationship you have with them, how you respect each other. Brag about what they bring to your family. Brag about how you work together and about how you have provided your children with a loving and professional adult who keeps helping educate them. Brag about the content, not the format. That's worth telling your friends about. Thank you for listening. Join us again next time. Today's episode is brought to you by Mama Toto Wear. Mama Toto Wear is a company that makes maternity and nursing tops that lets you breastfeed really easily and discreetly. And it's a company that was started in San Francisco in 2005. And they've always been committed to being eco-conscious and making really great tops that are fair made. So the tops are made in San Francisco. They're really, really awesome tops because they let you breastfeed anywhere. They give you the freedom to be out and about and the option to breastfeed where you are as you are. So head on over to mamatotoware.com and check them out. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast today and spending time with me. I want to know what you want to hear about. If there's a topic you want us to cover, if you have questions for us that you want us to answer in a future episode, or if you just want to say hi, please email me at hello@rivieranannies.fr and put Nanny Podcast in the subject line. I would love to hear from you. Take a look at our show notes for links and details about today's episode. If you're listening in iTunes, you click on the artwork and the notes should come up. Otherwise, they're always on our website, thenannypodcast.com. We have a pretty awesome newsletter that we send out both to nannies and families. You can subscribe to it on rivieranannies.fr or thenannypodcast.com. We want to thank our sponsors for supporting our podcast. And again, thank you to our listeners. This is your podcast. Thank you for listening.